Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. We're a podcast about board games where we have opinions and conclusions formed on the basis of incomplete information. This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is brought to you by these great Saskatoon businesses: Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street, Dragon's Den Games on 8th Street, and Breakout Escape Rooms on Faithful Avenue. Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. I'm your host, Norm.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Ian.
And on this episode, we are, of course, going to do the segment Thinking, Playing, Doing Board Games. And the topic today is, it's January, Ryan, so what does that mean?
Happy New Year? No, no, it's award season, baby.
Yay! Cardboard Conjecture is proudly sponsored by Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street in Saskatoon. They're the winner of the Joe Shuster Award for Best Comic Book Store in Canada, and they were also nominated in 2016 for the U.S. Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award presented at Comic-Con. Amazing Stories' amazing collection of comic books, board games, puzzles, and collectibles can be found in their store or on their new online website. And welcome back to Cardboard Conjecture. We are going into Thinking, Playing, Doing Board Games. Ryan, why don't you get us started on this?
Okay, so people may know me, and they may know that I like a certain computer website known as Kickstarter. And if people are listening to my New Year's resolutions, one thing I said I was going to back less Kickstarters this year, and we're not off to a good start, folks. Nope, there's a little Kickstarter out there called Darwin's Journey, and it's a new game by Simone Luciani, which is, of course, one of my absolute favorite designers of all time.
That sounds like an excuse right there, doesn't it?
And
justification for sure.
Are you on the Kickstarter page right now, like I am?
No, because I don't want to click it. Yeah.
No,
I'm sitting on my hands right now, literally.
Yeah. So he's got a new worker placement type-ish game. They're saying that it's got new mechanisms where you're going to be. You have to upgrade your workers in order to do certain tasks. So the kind of like you have to like, I don't know, I'm going to use computer game terminology. You have to level up your characters before they can actually do certain things throughout the course of the game. And then as soon as they're like certain levels, from what I understand, then they can do their tasks or they can go out and. Premise of the game, essentially, since it's Darwin's Journey, you are, recounting the steps of Charles Darwin and his trips around the Galapagos Islands and trying to find, links to evolution. And that's essentially what the game is going to be playing about. That's all I really know about because I just kind of looked at the Kickstarter page and said, click, pledge. Everything looks absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. Of course, I'm getting the collector's edition because
I'm on I opened it up and it looks gorgeous.
The art in here now. Where is the artist's name? Because they need absolute props. This is like Beth
Paulo
Sobel
Voto.
Yeah,
Paulo
this is like
Voto.
This is like Beth Sobel's caliber artwork right here. This is like Smithsonian, like you like to mention, Norm.
Audubon Society kind of. Yeah.
Everything about this thing.
And you know what? I mean, I like the fact it's not like one of these, again, wrong guests to have on today, because I'm looking at this going, you know what? It's wood meeples. I don't need it to be deluxified. And our special guests tonight, we're gonna properly introduce them in the next segment, but it's Shea and Dave from Board on the Air. So, which past episode was all about deluxifying. But yes. This Ryan, man. Oh, okay. Well, at least you're getting it, so it's in the community.
No. I got Ian here to try to talk me out of it.
Oh, Ian, don't.
Well, I quite like the theme.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Oh, don't. Oh, see, here we go.
It's got the little bead things from
right?
viticulture.
We're all three teachers.
I think you got to get it, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
Can I convince?
We'll
can
give
I
you a
convince
pass on this
Ian?
one. We'll
Can
give
I
you a
convince
mulligan.
Can I convince Ian to get this one?
No, I'm not kickstarting. I got self control.
He has a movie collection to stock, man. Don't. Yeah.
Look at these
Have you
deluxified
scrolled
components.
down to the shipping on this one? It's 18 euros to ship this game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that's what 325 Canadian.
Something like that, yeah.
There's.
I looked
okay.
at this one. It's
sorry.
beautiful, but it's expensive.
I rolled into the collector's
So-
edition. Ryan, you said you got metal coins, the soft plastic wax seals.
Yeah,
I'm not
gonna jump
the
in on-
coins didn't do anything to me, but these soft plastic wax seals right away. I'm like, oh, that looks gooey, like squishing a Skittle.
I'm gonna come in with David here. Should we do a group buy and save on some shipping?
Well, I
can we
may
save a
have
couple-
done the calculation on this.
Can we save a couple
it's
euro?
Still $9 more. It's still $27 for two people.
Oh,
you guys are crazy.
we just saved like $15 right there.
That's dangerous.
It's
look what you
one
did.
I did look at.
Well, I mean,
discuss this with Mom.
you've next in People's Court.
But yeah, I did
There's
watch
a new Martin
the.
Wallace today, though.
Oh, is that the
What?
space one? No.
No, the train.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Tin,
That's
the
right.
tin mining one.
Yeah.
The redo.
It's the. I have First Train to Nuremberg, and on the back side is the original one, which is this one, and I can't remember what the title is, but yeah, it's a reprint. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm
It
okay with that
looks
because, like I
very
said,
solid.
I've got the flip side of the map, so I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I don't need to scratch that itch. So okay, let's carry on.
I still have some days to figure out if I'm going to cancel this pledge or not.
Oh, I don't think about that.
Because the Castles of Mad King Ludwig collector's edition's coming out later this month too.
Well, you know what? Here's the proper segue. I'm going to pitch this segue out here because we're going to go to Ian, and I'm looking at the title of Ian's, and it describes the Kickstarter journey of psychoses that Ryan is on. The Catacombs.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Exit Catacombs of Horror. Well, I don't
Ryan's
really have that much to
Kickstarter
say
journey.
about it. Yeah, he's trying to exit, but he's trapped.
I got to click. I have to click.
Yeah, so I finally got a chance to play Catacombs of Horror, which isn't just a regular Exit game. It's the big giant Exit box. I mean, giant in terms of Exit games, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's a two-parter, and so you can play it in two halves. And this is the first one they've done of this. I don't think they've done any others, have they, Ryan?
No, this is the first and only so far of this extended big box version.
And so there is an actual stopping place, and it'll tell you, because at first we weren't sure. We knew that it was going to stop halfway through. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, is this where we couldn't really tell, but then it does very clearly tell you.
Okay, cool.
This is where you pause. If you want to keep going, keep going. If you want to pack it back up and bring it out again later, do that right now. We just did it all at once, though. We just went through the whole thing, whole shebang, which took about 2 hours.
Ooh, cool.
Altogether. So, yeah, it's a good package. There's lots of puzzles in there. 2 hours worth of puzzles. And I think they get tougher as they go, definitely. But it's a neat one.
But is it one of those things where, as the puzzles progress, your brain dialing in the schema of the puzzle progress with it, or Ryan shaking his head no?
I guess that depends on your brain, Norm.
They're a brain cramp every left turn. Yeah.
This was one when we played it. We found the first half, I'll call it like the first half of the game. Yeah. We breezed through it. Like, we thought it was pretty easy. And the difficulty on the box says it's a 5 out of 5. It's the only 5 out of 5 in the Exit series for difficulty-wise. Mm-hmm. And we flew through the first half. We're like, well, really? That's all this has to offer? And then we went into the second half feeling fairly confident with ourselves. And couple of those puzzles really kicked us in the nuts.
Ian, I'm going to use a movie metaphor here. is it sort of like as Ryan says, you finish the first half and you're thinking, oh, that's fine. Like, the main character in a movie going, oh, that was easy. And they turn and walk straight into a metal beam and go, ping, and get like hit right out of the gates on the second phase.
It definitely gets tougher. I won't say too much because of course it's spoiler ridden and you don't want to give away too much, but I will say you will need a lighter or matches. So if that intrigues you at all.
Tiger torch, yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't include those into the box, like just hide
like a
them
match.
somewhere.
That would be such a cool little promo thing, little old school paper match. Yeah.
But they always have cool ways to think outside the box for these things. Dave and Shea, have you guys played any of the exit games? Are you into that at all?
We've played the Forgotten Island or Forbidden Island?
Forbidden.
Yeah. So we did that out at the lake one year, and we had a really good time playing it. And I think we breezed through it like 4 or 5 hours later when we finished. I thought it was really well done.
I don't think I played this one, but I've looked at
just
them.
so people know, that's Canadian time, right? I mean, it's a little different.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'd definitely be interested if they do more of these big box ones. I think that was pretty cool. Did you guys went all the way through, right, Ryan?
Yeah, we went straight through.
Okay. Because I'd be curious to know how the stopping and starting goes. Because I mean, we were like, well, we got all the cards set out, everything's out. We may as well just keep rolling. But
be like an Iron Man, you just have like a water break and eat some fruit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much you would forget in, like, say you took a week off between the first and the second half.
Right.
And where were we?
Yeah.
And the second half, like the meta game is the fact that your character now has, small micro amnesia parts going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, it just occurred to me because I know that Dave and Shea and your household are big fans of the title that I'm going to introduce next, and that's Architects of the West Kingdom. I've been playing that a little bit and playing it solo, of course, because we're still in lockdown, and I'm using that as an excuse because I have no friends. This is Shem Philips, and it's kind of interesting because that's going to tie into the next part. Art by the Miko, who I'm just Coloma. I mean, it's just all these little things I'm starting to see. I just love his stuff. City of Spies, right? And Garfield Games, and I think it is the first in the trilogy, I believe, of the West Kingdom series, and it's a very cool worker placement, but a worker cumulative placement that has a kind of push your luck element to it, and it is what it is. You're architects. You're rebuilding. Kind of that time and area of France during the reign of Charlemagne. So we're talking like the 800s, and it is it's I'm having fun. Like I'm playing a solo. The Otama, or the AI, or whatever you want to call it, is pretty cool. As far as I'm starting to get a good repertoire of different solo gaming systems. And I'm really digging what they do in Paladins. I'm digging what they do in this game. And so and because like we said, we have a guest on tonight, I'm going to hand this off to you guys to because I know you guys are big Shem fans.
Yeah, I'm a huge Shem Philips fan, and this is actually one of the very few games I have soloed. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the whole flipping a card, doing this and that, and how I'd be like, oh, it's a computer, I'm just gonna build this up and he'll forget about me. No. he beats you down at every possible chance he can. And I like this one because it's, in my opinion, of the West Kingdom series, the lightest and the most easy to teach, approachable one. So and the expansion just adds to it so much. I really like this.
Interesting
series.
How you use those qualities, because that's sort of a setup for our topic part, right? But yeah, exactly. It's one of those. Ryan and I were talking today at work, and there's certain games that have. I often use the term. We use it in instructional design, cognitive load, or how much you're putting on your working memory. And I really enjoy games that are easy to teach, easy to learn, easy to play, and there's still levels of depth that you can go explore. right? Because the game has all these variations. So, yeah, I'm late to the party on West Kingdoms. That's for sure. I know, Ryan, you introduced me to the first series. What was it? The
North Sea
North
trilogy.
Sea. Yeah. It was, I think, Shipbuilders was what you showed me, and I had fun with that one. So, yeah.
Yeah, Shipwrights is the first one I showed you, and that is by far the biggest hot piece of garbage in the whole series. If anybody's listening to this one, I believe I shared with David one day in a message the ship sounds like another word that it probably should have been called.
Yes.
So you're saying that needs to go back to the drawing board?
Well, they kind of fix it though with the they have the little expansion called the Rune Saga.
Oh, that's right.
Where you play the games in kind of like successive order.
Yeah, you were showing me that.
They introduced a couple rule tweaks as you play that game, and kind of it doesn't fix the game completely, but it made it a little bit more. You can choke it down. A little bit easier.
Cool.
Well, and it's funny because Raiders, which is the third one of that series, is. I still lean towards that as my favorite of his games. Like that and Paladins, I go back and forth.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But with a asterisk that you have to have both expansions with Raiders at the time that you play it.
So then you're referring to Raiders of Scythia.
Well, no, because I can't watch that art.
Well, I remember you told me that too. It's like if it's Shem, it has to look like Miko.
It does,
and I get that.
Really
I mean,
does.
that's like Lennon McCartney. That they have to be together, right? Cool. So yeah, for me that was Architects of the West Kingdom.
This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is proudly sponsored by Dragon's Den Games, located in the Louis VIII Mall on 8th Street in Saskatoon. Swing by Dragon's Den Games and let Darren, Al, and the awesome staff help you out in search for great board games, role-playing games, miniature systems, and all of the related accessories. Be a part of their gaming communities that have scheduled events in their great gaming area. Dragon's Den Games, Louis VIII Mall on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
And we are back. This is Cardboard Conjecture, and we are going into the first annual, I hope, awards season. It's January, so we're going to do what we're so far working title, the Shemies. And because watching Twitter over the weekend, Shem Philips tweeted out about this whole idea of categories and categorizations or defining something, and he said it's like I just want something why I like certain games and in 6 categories. So I basically this is my opportunity to footnote and credit where this idea came from by using his name in the title. So thank you very much, Shem Philips. You pretty much wrote this episode for us and answered the questions for us too. So
I detailed descriptions on everything.
It was
and
wonderful.
Examples.
I mean, we're three teachers here, so I think it's sort of like that's a very good homework submission. Thank you. Without further delay, anybody want to comment before we kick into this? I should see if I can create some awards show music to just kind of segue it in.
Da 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 da.
It's Bond.
Sounds like a James. All right, we're doing the James Bond Shemies. All right, so let me please start this off, and I'll try my best to coordinate the direction of this. But let's start off with the most thinky, and this is what Shem wrote. And I'll give you his answer, and then we'll go around the table and submit our answers, and maybe people can do some seal of approval stamps or stamp of approvals. So, most thinky is this category. Not necessarily the heaviest game I like or own, but the one I want to play the most to get my brain burning. And Shem's game in this area is Underwater Cities, and I can't agree more.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
A solid choice.
I like Underwater Cities.
That's a fun engine builder. Absolutely. So, Ryan, So what I suggested to everybody is that they give an honorable mention and their selection, and as far as the criteria how that works, it's up to anybody. You can call it out before you say it. Your call. It's open. So Ryan, here you go. Most thinky.
Most thinky. So my honorable mention will go to a category of games from
He's already
single
cheating.
designer.
Breaking the rules already.
Already? What the? Man, I'm out of here.
I co-founded this podcast. I can do what I want. So my honorable mention goes to any Vital Lacerda game.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
They're very. All of them require some sort of load of cognitive thinking that. You have to do this before you do. There's orders of operations upon order of operations, and
it's like an archaeological dig. I've got to start the level down here to get to what I want at turn 4.
So honorable mention to Vital Lacerda, but part of this says that I like her own and I want to play. So the one that really gets me going that I want to play and that I always seem to pull out, at least I play it on the app. When I can't play it in person with people, is Terra Mystica or Gaia Project, the space version of Terra Mystica. But Terra Mystica is for most thinky. I don't know. I think about this game a lot when I'm playing it, and I have to. I don't know. I'm trying to plan, and I'm trying to think about what I need to do, and that always goes sideways at the best of times.
Well, yeah, because people can mess up those plans quite a bit. There's some things you'll be fine with, but you'll have like this key thing you've got to hinge. Like you've got to use magic to get these extra workers, or else you're not going to be able to do anything. And the person right before you does it, and then your whole turn is.
And then I always find it because I'm always trailing. And then there's that mechanic of when somebody builds next to you, you can spend victory points to convert power. And I always fail because I'm always in second place to Ian or third place to Ian, and he builds next to me. And do I want to? These victory points are ever so crucial, but I need that power, and just that little decision right there, I have to think about that.
I got to learn how to play this game, man. Cool. Those are two good. Ian, let's get you going.
Okay, well, this isn't going to be very different. So my honorable mention is Vinios from Vital Lacerda.
All right. So you stuck by the rules rather than
I picked one game. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Well, Ian only owns one Vital Lacerda game.
That's true.
I own all of them.
But my pick is Terra Mystica.
Right on.
Because for exactly the same reasons Ryan said. It's a thinker. It's the one that gets me walking up the room when I'm stressed. I just have to wander.
That's something to see when Ian has something in his mind and somebody's thinking about doing it's up pacing back and forth.
It's like jury duty. Yeah. He's just like hand to the head.
The hand on the chin and the old Marge Simpson.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Okay, right on. Dave, Shea, let me take this quick opportunity to introduce you properly to the people that maybe have made it this far listening. Dave and Shea, Saskatoon, Board on the Air podcast, CFCR, I think I got it correct, yes? And wherever you can download podcasts, I think you guys pretty much have a lot of the major sites covered.
Yeah, whenever Dad uploads them.
I just updated this week.
I taught him how to do a Google Drive, so hopefully they'll get uploaded sooner.
All right. I didn't. Your therapist told me not to go there, so I was.
I'm just the loyal listeners that listen to us live recorded. I give them a week before I give everybody else a chance to hear me.
Sure.
It's kind of absorption rate. Absolutely, it's thinky. And speaking of thinky, what do you guys have for an honorable mention?
Jay,
you want me to go first? Okay.
We both have our own list. So.
Okay.
We do, yeah.
All right, so we'll just
because we are different people. My honorable mention, Smartphone Inc. Fantastic Kickstarter game that we got last year, a couple months ago. Love that game, but there's always like, which thing do you want to do? Where do you want to spend your pieces? Cool. And then my number one was Rajas of the Ganges. Because that game has so much going on in it, and it's awesome. I love playing that game. I've played it for ages. But
right on. Dave, what do you got going?
Well, very similar. So I
thought you were different
act-
people, though.
I thought of doing the same thing that Ryan did with the Battelle Lacerda, but I thought that's like 12 games, so I couldn't do that. So my honorable mention is one that I just got and I've only played a few times. It's called Calico, which is just a small little abstract strategy, but when you're trying to manage color and pattern around these little discs, my brain just explodes and my son just destroys me at.
It's like trying to organize a Jackson Pollock painting.
It is. I think as I play it more, it may move into number one, but for right now, my number one is Smartphone Inc.
Hey.
And I love the whole action selection where you have these two boards and you're trying to put them over top of one another because you have to cover up at least one or two of the squares, and the whole back and forth as to what actions it gives you to play for the next 7 steps.
Yeah.
I just love Smartphone Inc.
Right on. Huh. Cool. Good ones. Well,
I don't know much about that.
I'm gonna pop us straight into something out of Ryan's collection. My honorable mention for most thinky is Arkwright.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is Industrial Revolution economy. And it's interesting because for me, at least, my perception of thinky involves, I just realized, kind of two similar aspects or gaming mechanisms. So yeah, Arkwright, if nobody knows about that one, go click on it and check it out. But my selection for the most thinky game that makes me just burn my brain is Age of Steam.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's definitely a good one.
Yeah. It it's kind of that little stepping right up to the doorstep of 18XX and having a look inside, and that's about as far as I want to get right now. Yeah, Age of Steam, pickup and delivery. I think the one that just burns my brain because I have so much difficulty. I'm getting better at it, but evaluating the auction system in every game, how you evaluate something depending on, and again, what I love about Age of Steam is how the randomness of how the board gets set up and what's going to where, and you've got to look at this like beautiful mind kind of like color system on the board and try to visualize some sort of pattern of connectivity that other people don't see, and then approach it from I suck at that game. But it's compelling, absolutely. So that's mine. I think that's a good round of thinky suggestions. We only had one rep or 2 repetitions.
Yeah.
And 2 games I've never played, so I'm compelled now.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. All right. Coming up next, Ian, could you introduce the next category, please?
Sure. So this is interesting because David and Shea, I've been cherry picking some of your back catalog lately, and I just listened to your episode on theme versus mechanics.
I love that one.
So here we go. So our next category is most immersive. It's the one that has you totally engrossed in the thematic elements of the game. Who are you in the game? What do you need to be doing? And every mechanism reinforces the theme. And so it looks like his pick here was Project Elite, which is not a game I know actually at all.
I've never played that one either.
Nope.
Yeah,
I've heard lots about it.
With it.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's like the you're on a starship and you're eradicating aliens kind of thing.
Sounds about
Which is
right.
good. It's awesome.
Yeah. So Norm, why don't you kick us off for this?
Oh, okay. My honorable mention, and what I'm doing for most of my picks, and I'm trying to respect that, is my honorable mention is always going to be something outside of my collection, and my selection is going to be something inside my collection. So my honorable mention for most immersive, with all of those criteria mentioned, Star Wars Imperial Assault. Ryan has this game. We've played it at Board Game Club at school, and this is so much fun. This is my most favorite, and you'll realize that, my most favorite IP in board games. I have no problem playing Star Wars Risk as long as I get to play with Star Wars stuff. So So Imperial Assault is my honorable. So now my selection, Star Wars Rebellion. It's basically Star Wars in a box, and it's the best game of hide and seek anyone can ever play. And those are my picks, and I'm very proud. Very proud.
Figured somebody would be picking that one.
That's a great choice.
I'm
Anything
very
that ends with Star
narrow.
Wars.
I'm very narrow on my theme IP right now, but in both cases, they both hit me right in the 2x4, right in that itch in the brain.
Right in the feels.
Yeah, Ian, you keep setting us up with who's next.
Shay, why don't you take it over?
Oh, me. Okay. So my honorable mention for anybody who listens to our radio show, they've definitely heard me talk about this game before. Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. Yeah, you know how you said Star Wars? Yeah, Harry Potter for me. I will play pretty much anything Harry Potter, but this game is fantastic, and I just love the theme. It's great. But my number one is actually Betrayal on the House on the Hill.
Oh, cool.
I think, that game really sucks me in with everything. I just love the whole thing. They don't like it, but like my family doesn't like it. But I love this game. I just got the Scooby-Doo one, and it's great.
Right on.
The one thing I want that game to do is, because you can go downstairs and upstairs, they need to actually raise a second board, so you're actually going upstairs.
That'd be great.
Sort of Burgle Bros type idea.
Like 3D printed board. I think that would increase Betrayal.
Just this little scissor lift that you just kind of kick up and kick down, kick up and kick down. Yeah. Right on.
Awesome. Dave.
Okay, for immersion, if anybody who's listened to our podcast, I don't believe in theme.
Yeah.
Hansa Teutonica!
Yeah. So I picked my favorite Feld. No, just kidding. My honorable mention is a brand new one, Lost Ruins of Arnak. I just love the whole Indiana Jones feel to this game, and the pieces and everything just pull me in on this. They're already getting upgraded. I've found coins and compasses. But the game that I like that makes me feel like I'm actually involved in it is Teotihuacan, with the whole building of the pyramid in the middle with the blocks, and you're putting the decorations on it, you're collecting gold and your cacao and everything. I just find this one, while it is a pretty dryish Euro, it has a good feel to it for me.
It's a lot of theme for you.
It is, it's very clear that you don't really care about theme.
Just to use a metaphor.
I tried, man. I tried.
Just to use a metaphor.
We appreciate it.
That's like my wife saying that spicy food for her is salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Ketchup. Yeah. Ketchup is spicy.
Cool.
All right, Ryan, what you got?
Okay, so my honorable mention is probably a lot of people probably wouldn't know this about me, but I really enjoy Dead of Winter. And so Dead of Winter is my honorable mention. I really do feel like the different scenarios that you can play through, capture the theme of trying to survive, that there's zombies out there and you have to go out and rummage and collect items, and you have to roll for exposure and get frostbite, stuff like that. So, and there's a hidden traitor possibly mechanic in there, which is always really quite lovely. I love that. But my selection for most immersive for me is my number one game of all time, which is Arkham Horror, the card game.
Right on.
And the story that you play through in this game, and the decisions you have to make, and everything that the card game gives you, really gets you thinking about what is actually happening. The monsters are chasing me. Am I just going to try to back off of them? Am I going to try to fight them? The cards that I'm playing are actually like my allies and the weapons that I have at my disposal. And I feel the most immersed when I'm playing that game, because I can create and I can see the thing that's happening in front of me. I probably could have said Arkham Horror 3rd Edition in this spot as well, because it kind of captures the same type of feel. But that's the one that really gets me immersed.
Right
is
on.
Arkham Horror, my number one game.
Yay. Ian, I'm going to pass it to you.
You're reaching moratorium levels on that, Ryan. Pretty soon we're not going to let you talk about that game anymore.
I'm sorry, you lost me at story.
Narrative. Ian, what do you got going on?
So for my honorable mention, I decided to go with Game of Thrones, because I'm a huge fan of those books, and I really like being able to actually control one of the main families and use the characters as your war leaders. And what I really love about that game, and what really kind of makes it Game of Thronesy, is that there's these tracks that you have to compete for, which are kind of like the power tracks, and so you have to try to get the throne, and so where are you in line for the throne, and where are you in terms of how loyal your followers are for you and how well they'll fight for you. And then, of course, you got the idea that you have to send people to the wall to fight off the wildlings. And so I just always, whenever I play that, I just always think about being in that mindset of that world, and I love it.
Right on.
But the pick I'm going to go with is Merchants and Marauders, which is a pirate game through and through. You feel like you are a pirate. You can do so many things. You can fight other ships. You can run away from other ships. You can go buy stuff over in this port, sell it over in this port. It's a very sandboxy world, and you can kind of be whatever kind of pirate you want to be.
Awesome. Yay. Well, I'm cringing moving on to all these other categories because I'm kind of creating a shopping list on the side. It's like, dang. All right. So yeah, that was most immersive. Ryan, why don't you get us going on the next category, please?
Sure. So we're going to go with our games that are most memorable. So this is going to the games that do the best job of creating those moments. Things that happen during the game, you'll just keep recalling year after year for years to come. So, Norm, kick us off.
Well, let Shem tell us what Shem picked.
Sorry. Yes, Shem, he chose Nemesis.
And that's the aliens in a box, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, by Awakened Realms.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so who did you call out? Sorry for interrupting. Want to make sure that
I called you out, buddy.
Oh, calling me out. Okay. Yeah, everybody calls me out a lot of times. The page. What? Huh? Who? Yeah, I'll take the 0. So most memorable for me, honorable mention goes to, and it was a game I played with Ryan in the game club, and then I got my own copy, and then continued to play it with my cousins and such. It's Shadows over Camelot.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice.
And to me, I can kind of consider, you could put, for me, any hidden trader game in this category is going, for me, to create some of those memorable moments. Just that when that coin flips, man, that's the part where you're like, yeah. So, and Ryan has a whole backstory of Camelot at school. So, but for me, the selection, now, if we could include RPGs, I would say D&D, hands down, because of the solid narrative, the solo. For me, my memory and recall are always based on narrative and scene, some like a cinematography, like a scenic memory kind of thing, right? There's always a beginning, middle, and end for solid memories I have of games. But because I don't want to do that, I'm going to say the closest thing is Gloomhaven. There's so many moments when I'm playing Gloomhaven that I'm caught into a decision where it's one of those, I'm role playing it in my head, and often I'm playing Gloomhaven alone, but there's always that scene, that movie going on in your head, for me at least, while I'm playing. And I often have some of these moments where it's like, yeah, I remember that level where it was just like a dine and dash, man. Just get to the door, right? Just finish that level because you're going to exhaust your cards. So for me, Gloomhaven. Yeah, I could talk tons about this one.
I can't deny that one. That's a pretty good choice.
Oh, did I hear a stamp of approval?
Yeah.
All right.
Ian, what you got?
Okay, I'm trying to figure out. I might switch my selections here. Yeah, I'm going to switch them. So, honorable mention. We're going with Eclipse.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Eclipse is a good one for building moments, especially since it really builds up to final battles at the end of the game, and everyone kind of builds up to those points, and you can have some big showdowns. You can also maybe be famous for having the worst game ever played of Eclipse.
That would be my first, second, third, and fourth game. Yeah.
Eclipse has lots of good moments like that. But for my pick, they're getting a second award for me. This is Merchants and Marauders.
Ooh.
Merchants and Marauders, because it's so open, because there's lots of things you can do, you can really build stories around it. And so, for example, people keep remembering how I decided to attack a bunch of missionaries on an island, and missionaries sunk my ship. And I never lived that one down.
They're from New France.
Yeah. Or how players can go through like 3 different captains because every time everybody else attacks them and make sure that their ship sinks, and there's lots of moments like that you can have. You can have big pirate battles, and definitely Merchants and Marauders.
Cool. I can't deny that one either. That gets my approval too.
Stamp of approval.
Stamp of approval. I'm just handing out stamps left, right, and center. You get a stamp.
You get a stamp. And you get a stamp.
David, do you get a stamp? Let's hear what you got.
Okay, well, so for my honorable mentions, I went with I actually have 2. One is
Rule breaker.
just one for a party game, because when you turn it around and everybody has the same clue and the person who's guessing gets nothing, and you get mad at him because he didn't guess it. The other one is Quacks, because I love that whole pulling out of a bag and exploding when it shouldn't, because you have 27 good ones and 1 bad one. But the game...
As long as the chits don't get stuck in the bag.
Exactly. It's not as it's in the corner, right?
But knowing you guys, it's deluxified, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
but mine that I picked is an actual game.
Quacks is a great game. What are you talking about?
But like a gamer's game. Mine is Clank in Space.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I'm gonna start crying.
I've played it 10 times and I've died in the last space before living 9 out of those 10 times. And I remember every single one of those games and who screwed me over. For at some point, I will get revenge.
You're on the list, and you're on the list, and you're on the list. Yeah.
Yes, I love that tension of that game, of some people trying to sort of rush in and rush out, and other people just the fighting back and forth and getting out and then just sitting there trying to kill people.
Right on.
Sweet. That gets a stamp. that one gets a stamp, because I have the same idea. I haven't played Clank in Space, but I have played quite a bit of Clank and all the different variation of their boards and everything. And yeah, I kind of keep track too of the people that are trying to bury me below the surface.
Right on. Ryan, round us out.
Shay?
Shea!
Shay's
I am
Shay's
so...
Don't forget about me.
Hey, you know what? Wait. It's a Canadian show, so I'm going to say sorry. Sorry. Sorry, eh?
Apology accepted.
Thanks, eh?
So my honorable mention is Orleans. This is a game I love. And the reason I say it creates memories is because I like to screw Dad over by taking the last tile before on the same turn before he gets to take it. So it's fantastic, and it's a great game. And my pick is Clank in Space, same as Dad. Yeah, it sucks when we live in the same house and we play the same games. I have won both games of this that I've played, so I'm probably on that list.
That's pretty memorable
It's
too.
very memorable when I actually win games. But yeah, it's same thing as Dave said. It is a fantastic game, and definitely that rush right to the end to try and get to the escape pod. It's awesome.
I'm going to guess your name is on his list of those
Probably,
who have
yeah,
wronged
absolutely.
him.
Many games, I think, actually.
Wronged me in the dungeon.
Yes.
Oh.
Perfect. Yep.
Can I pitch it to
I
you
guess
now?
I guess if I gave Dave a stamp, I have to give that one a stamp.
Yeah, I think just
Stamp
follow
of
along.
approval.
Okay. I'm going to round this one out. For my honorable mention was, it has already been mentioned in the most immersive. It was Star Wars Rebellion.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
And we've had so many epic battles, and we can recount the stories of like Han Solo destroying a Death Star, but the Emperor has captured Luke Skywalker and has turned him to the dark side.
Crazy.
And Death Star has actually blown up 2 systems, and
It's just about hey, you remember that time? Hey,
Yeah.
you remember that time?
Yeah,
Right
so
on.
Star Wars Rebellion
Stamp.
creates some lots of memories. But people may have listened to the show that one of the games that I have the most memories playing is Twilight Imperium, the 4th edition. And this will be the regular occurrence where I say sorry to Adam for betraying, for the absolute betrayal that I ever gave him. And Twilight Imperium is just one of those games where you will remember sitting down for 6 hours with 5 other guys and hammering out the politics and the arguing and the space battles, and the time that I rushed Mechatol Rex, and within the first 3 or 4 rounds I already had like 6 or 7 points out of the 10, so it was kind of a quick game after that one. But yeah, Twilight Imperium has created some of my best memories, and I bet you that's going to create even more memories once I actually can get to play this again.
Yeah.
Because I got the brand new expansion, and it's just sitting there.
Much like some antidotes sitting in freezers waiting to get shot into our arms. Okay.
Too soon.
Yeah, I decided not to go with legacy games for this one, even though legacy games probably would have been a really good fit.
I guess that would be a pretty much slam dunk.
Yeah, but I decided not to.
This episode is proudly supported by the amazing team at Breakout Escape and Board Game Lounge right here in Saskatoon. Using industry-leading technology, Breakout Escape's escape rooms are all 100% uniquely designed by the team, ensuring their patrons have maximum fun while staying safe. As well, they are a fully licensed board game lounge with over 400 titles to select from to ensure fun for every gamer, new and experienced. Be sure to check them out at breakoutsask.com. At Breakout Escapes and Game Lounge, they believe that life is more fun when you play games.
Cool. All right, so we're moving on to let me please introduce. And again, if this was a video, you would know this would be ironic that I'm presenting this one, but the most beautiful game. It looks gorgeous on the table. Give me all the metal coins, custom bits, and stunning art with gameplay to match. And interesting, this should be your guys' category, because this to me sounds like the deluxeified, give some TLC loving care to your I don't have a favorite game. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the most beautiful. So let's start us off with the deluxeified team. Dave and Shea, why don't you guys give us yours?
Go first.
What was Shem's?
Oh yeah, what was
thank
Shem's?
Thank you. Shem's was Scythe.
That's a pretty good one, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, all of Shem's get stamped because he's setting he's putting the bar. He's setting that bar. So yes, without again, sorry, Shem, sorry, Dave and Shea.
Shea?
Me? Okay. So my honorable mention is a game again that I love and I will play all the time, and that is Everdell. And you really can't deny that game is gorgeous, especially with the giant tree, which I found out is actually called the Ever Tree. Fantastic, looks awesome. I actually have all the expansions and they are great. But my number one and my pick had to be the one that I actually fully deluxeified, which is Champions of Midgard. I got metal coins, I got resources, I got the neoprene mat, I got all the things for it, and it looks great. And it's a great game on top of that. Like, it's fantastic, and that's why I got all of the pieces for it.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay, so for me, I went with just, retail, out-of-the-box versions, not anything I deluxeified. And
he specifically mentions deluxeified.
One sort of cheat is, one is a retail version and one is a Kickstarter version. My honorable mention is Everdell as well. Cool. I love all the bits. I love how everything fits together, and it just makes one continuous board out there. But my choice in this is Gugon, the deluxe edition. Every piece of this is overwrought and just beautiful. Jade pieces, and the tiles are all wooden, and everything is custom cut. It's beautiful. And
velvet box.
The box is velvet for the deluxe edition.
George Costanza would like it.
Oh yeah, like this, you could make a suit out of this box for sure.
Right on. Cool. Well, I can't. Now I've got that image in my head. I'm going to you, Ian. What do you? Well, I can't. Now I can just picture that George posing on the Shea for Kramer to take a picture. Okay, I need some therapy for a while now. Ian, most beautiful, please.
Okay, so I picked actually two very recent games, which I guess makes sense because as we go, people increase their production values. My honorable mention is last year's Parks, which has a bunch of different cards from a specific artist series. I covered it in a review a while back. But also that insert is amazing. Just that insert is like...
That was Game Trays?
That's worth it, yeah.
Yeah, Game Trays.
Yeah. And
cool.
So Parks is really good, and I'm pretty sure we all know where I'm going here. My selection is going to be Wingspan. Because the art is amazing. Yeah, I love that game.
Did it win another award just now? Sorry.
Yeah, it did. It just did. And I don't know, it's Wingspan. You just look at the box and you feel the rules booklet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had mentioned it before. It's like you're flipping through an Audubon Society book. The way Beth Sobel has, and the team. I mean, she's on lead, but I don't want to jump on your topic, but it is gorgeous.
Yep, that's my pick.
Right
but
on.
It doesn't have paper money.
Yeah, that's the one downfall, but we'll make do.
And I don't know if outside of Canada, but we've got this thing called Cadbury mini eggs, and every time I play that game, I just want to start eating those things, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Ryan,
We played it at Easter with actual mini eggs. So when you have to spend an egg to something, you just eat them.
Oh, that's so good.
And then the people that forget what you're drawing from is like, okay, Heimlich. There we go.
Yeah,
got it.
pretty
Ting!
much. Sugar
Off
rush.
the jar. All right.
Okay, I'm changing up my show notes so the guys who can actually see the show notes. So Shem nailed it with Scythe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put that one as my honorable mention because I have my Scythe collection is just top notch. I've deluxeified everything. It's an actual stunning work of art sitting on the table. But my selection that I'm going with is you don't have to deluxeify anything in this game. When you buy it, it's absolutely gorgeous when you display it, and that's Mechs versus Minions.
Oh,
It is top-notch quality. How they can sell that thing for less than $100 is beyond me. I don't know if they're making any profit on it because of all the detailed miniatures that are coming in that game.
And they're
Things
painted,
are pre-painted.
too.
They're
Yeah,
pre-painted.
yeah.
And there are the artwork and the shiny UV gloss that they have on everything. The cards are top-notch quality. Oh, everything just about it. And it has a table presence when it is out there.
Yeah. Stamp.
Yeah, Mechs versus Minions gets my most beautiful
Right on.
game.
Cool. Well, you know what? It's interesting for my submissions for this topic. It's interesting how you described your game because my honorable mention is Ryan's blinged out Scythe game. Because and you know what, I get to break a rule because I've got a slash and a new one because it just came in. But yeah, Ryan, for those you should tweet your game because it's like it's one of those things where when you set up before you even start playing everybody just stands back like they're looking at the Taj Mahal and they're like just take a moment to soak up the beauty. Just can you smell it? Can you smell its neoprene? Yeah. Okay. But the other one in honorable mention is Museum because Vincent Dutray has some amazing art in this game. It's a card-driven collection game. And
Just got that one.
I just got it, and that's why I
just
bought
dropped
this
it off
game.
at your house.
I know. And the reason is because I did all that research because Dutray, the box cut, it's like I can't ever mock Ryan for his Kickstarter thing because I see a gorgeous box cover and I'm already all over it. But, so there you go. But my selection is pretty much because I've given this game such TLC and such love, is my Kemet with my painted minis and my deluxeified components.
Nice.
Oh, that's another for me. That scythe setup and just like I described. Let's just watch this. Just look at this. Just don't touch anything. Just look at the game for a while. Okay, now let's play. That's the moment I get out of that. So yeah, I got some Kemet to play when we get out of isolation.
Good old Kemet. Love those
Or
pyramids.
Kemet. Cool. Let's move on to the next category, please, Ian.
Okay, we're going with the most elegant game, which is probably kind of the harder one to define. So we've got satisfying experience with few rules and components. There we go. And so Love Letter is the example used here, which is...
Oh, yeah.
I really like
Great
Love
game.
Letter. Yeah. So, Dave, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, so I went with my honorable mention is a little tile game called Azul, where all you're doing is picking tiles, putting them on the board, but it just works so well. But the one I gave the award to is the game that really got me going in the hobby, Seven Wonders.
Cool.
You get 7 cards, you take a card, you pass them to the left, and there's really not much more to the game than that. There are a few small rules to it, but I find it just so simple, and the fact that no matter how many people are playing, it's 30 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
It's quick and fun.
We played a lot of that game.
We played a lot of it.
I
Cool.
love Seven Wonders. That's a good choice. Although I don't know that the scoring is that elegant. Would it be?
No.
I had the app.
We still played with the wrong rules, though.
That's besides the point. The
Yeah.
rules don't matter.
Simple rules, right? Isn't that something that Shem said?
Yeah.
You're not listening to Shem very well.
Ryan, what do you got?
Okay, so my honorable mention is a game that I've been playing a lot lately with Regan, and that's King Domino. And King Domino's, I consider it an elegant design because it's a bunch of like domino shaped tiles that you're just going to end up just drafting and placing into a kind of like a 5x5 square.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just literally try to match up some same colors, try to collect some crowns, and do some multiplying to get a final score. It's a little bit more fiddly than that, so that's why it's the honorable mention. But my selection here is I changed it from just recently, and it's to Shobu.
Hey.
And Shobu is a very abstract type of what does Norm always say? It's like sumo wrestling meets chess type of thing, where it's just a bunch of rocks on some grids and I guess a rope. No, I don't exactly know what the rope actually is supposed to do, but it's just there, and you just kind of just move your stones and it mimics on.
Off.
Excuse me.
Sorry, wax on, wax off. Paint the fence. Okay.
And so you're just moving these stones around to try to push the other stones off the boards, and once you've managed to clear it off your opponent off one of the boards, you win. And this game could have been my most frustrating type of game because, oh my gosh, how simple it is and how I cannot wrap my head around. Much like King Domino, I'm absolutely terrible at King Domino. My son beats me, and he's 5, like all the time, like all the time. And so most elegant goes to Shobu.
Cool.
Okay. Shay,
I
how
stamped
about
that one. Yeah.
Me. So my honorable mention is a little roll and right, or I should say flip and right, silver and gold. I was just gonna put, any roll and write that exists, but silver and gold is probably my pick for that because I love playing that game. It's so easy. It's just a deck of cards and you draw lines or X's on them. It's great. Cool. But my number one was Sonara, which I'm pretty sure that's the name. My phone auto-corrected it to Sonata, which is not the name of the game. But this is a flick and write. And I love it because all I have to do is put these tiles on the board and shoot them across the board. Very simple, very fun, and pretty easy to move around. It's just this nice wooden board and these little. Well, we laminate them. Were they paper originally, or
No, they were
they were laminated already?
Yeah.
So nice little laminated cards to write on.
Cool.
I've not heard of either of these.
Oh, I recommend the flick and write. It's so much fun,
Right on.
especially when you shoot them off the board.
And hit your father.
And hit my father. That's the best part.
Apply direct pressure. That's right. Apply direct pressure. You'll be okay.
Oh,
Cool.
Safety glasses included.
Norm, what do you got?
Okay, so my honorable mention is tied to I would say Ticket to Ride, but that's an obvious, right? But so my honorable mention goes to the same designer. He did a game called Airlines, and I think it is just as smooth and just as easy with the rules and the compliance to those rules as Ticket to Ride. But my selection for most elegant in its play and its system and how it is Flamme Rouge. It's 2 decks of cards, 2 bike riders, and it's a race. And the mind crunching decisions that go on in there in this simplicity are so much fun. And it's did I mention it's a race? It's a fun race. So yeah. Flamme Rouge. Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. Ian, round us out.
Okay, so my honorable mention, I decided to go with a game that we don't really talk about. It's pretty basic game, but it's elegant. And that's a game I just played, which is Suro.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Suro it's a neat game because all you really need is your player piece and then a bunch of tiles. And what the tiles do is they've got these pathways, and it's really easy to explain because your entire goal is just stay on the board. And so you have to, you have a hand of 3 tiles, and you pick which one works so that it won't, and your piece continues on your path, but if you ever go off the board, you're out. And basically you want to be the last person standing.
Nice.
And for my selection, I went pretty standard here. I'm going with chess.
Hey.
Because I just, it's chess. Go is probably the better choice here. I think Go, from everything I've heard about it, is like the pinnacle elegant game.
Yeah.
But I don't know Go very well. I'm not very well acquainted with it.
Well,
so
you
I'm
gotta
going with chess.
Go with what you know.
You do.
I'm here all week. Try the chicken. Yeah.
So
Cool.
Chess,
So yeah,
that's my pick.
And I think that obviously the longevity of its existence is pretty much proof. Right on. Let's go into Ryan. Let's intro the next category.
Okay, so next category is most replayable. So this is the game that just never gets old. I would never turn down a play of this game. It's enjoyable every time. And Shem picked Pandemic.
Great game. Love that
Kind of
game.
fitting.
Yeah. Cool.
So, who have I picked? Ian, go first here.
Okay, so my honorable mention, there's so many I could show, so I just decided to pick one, and because it's one that if anybody says play this, I will say yes, and so that's Race for the Galaxy.
Hey, right on.
I think there's a lot of choice you can do. There's all those different cards that you can. Yeah, love it. Good game. I can play it all the time. But I decided for my selection to go with the game that I probably have actually played the most, and that is Seven Wonders. I have booklets of those score pads filled out in my, we have played this a lot, and I'll always play Seven Wonders. And you can play it with 3 players, you can play it with 7 players, so like David was saying earlier, and it still is, half an hour, 45 minutes. It does not take very long. And it's usually a game I can get anybody else to play too. Love it. Seven Wonders.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yay. Stamp.
Yep. Stamp. Shay.
Ooh, okay. So my honorable mention is Coimbra. This is honestly always on one of my top 10 lists for games. It is fantastic, and definitely if I'm ever like, man, I kind of want an interesting game to play that's not too hard to set up, I go for Coimbra. But just like Ian, I'm probably going with, for my number one, we're going with the one we've played a lot, and that is Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
Our family plays this all the time. I would say at least a couple times a month we play this game, which is crazy for us.
Right.
So yeah, fantastic game. Who does it? Is that Feld or Shem?
It would be Feld.
It's Feld. Ha! I know a designer.
Ryan's face twitched. It was like,
I know a designer. That's Dad's job, not mine. But there we go. It's a great game.
Castles
He's
of
the
Burgundy is a
research
good
person
pick.
of the group.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Darn
that's a
dude.
good
Castles
pick.
of Burgundy gets a stamp.
stamp.
Dave. Dave.
Okay, for me, my honorable mentions are the 2 games that, of my recorded plays, I've played the most, which are Azul and Space Base. Both of them are fun. both of them I can teach anybody, so
Yeah.
they get a lot of plays. The game that I will sit down at the drop of a hat and play with anybody, no matter what the player count, is Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
I love it. It's Feld at his best. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's got zero theme,
But we have the colorful version.
and we have the colorful version of
Yeah.
it.
We just saw that in the store the other day, and it looks good.
Would recommend. It's fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, I sold my old copy just to get the new 20th anniversary
Yeah.
version. It's really good, very good.
Just to have all the expansions and everything, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's the way it's got to go. Norm,
Exactly.
Well, my honorable mention's been already mentioned, and just because, the replayability is Calico. I can,
Nice.
anytime. The game is going to demand you solve a different puzzle every time it is set up. So yeah, absolutely. But my selection is enjoyable every time, never gets old. Spirit Island.
Good call.
That game is I mean, considering now that I'm looking at my two choices, they're both intricate puzzles that are very random in its delivery and setup every time, and it's a matter of, okay, what do I have? How do I solve it? So yeah, those are my two, Calico and Spirit Island. Cool.
sweet.
Yeah, Ryan, let me pitch it to you because it's weird. Sorry, you were gonna say about the.
Nope. You get a stamp.
I get a stamp. Yay!
Gold star.
It feels reassuring. I love it. Cool.
Okay, my honorable mention for this category is I went with Five Tribes.
Hey,
Okay.
It is very replayable, and we'd never turn down a play of this at all. And just the kind of the board setup on this one is just the puzzle that comes out every time you set it up is completely different. You're never going to play the same game of Five Tribes. You might try to do the same things,
Yeah.
but the way you accomplish it is going to be completely different every
Yeah.
single game. So,
Yeah.
Five Tribes. But my selection, if anybody knows me, I may have mentioned a little game called Targi in the past, and my gosh, yeah. Sorry, no, I'm not going to say anything more about Targi. We've played. It's one of our most played games of all time, and it's just a 2-player only game. But we've played it so much, and we just never turn down a play with it. And I'd like to teach people it. It's fantastic.
It is.
I'm doing gestures like, has Ryan mentioned this game before? Is this
Nope,
come out?
it's that good. It's that good.
Right
Everybody
on.
just go out and buy it without even doing any research. You're never going to regret it.
Either we're gonna, you know what? Either I'm gonna have to take a big hit on my bank account, or we're gonna have to start like sharing some games around because my list is getting long here. Right? Let's round out the show, and we'll let Dave and Shea introduce the next topic and steer our choices here.
Yeah,
Okay.
we get a special one because it is not from Shem.
No.
It is from you, right, Norm? Or
Yes.
did you get rid of this? It just says moi.
The norm.
And
This is one that fits in really well with this group of 6. This is adaptability. So this is a game that can play at any player count, and it does not remove or detract from the play of the game. The elite level games actually have different game feels at different player counts. Because this is norms, we're going to shoot it over to you, man.
Oh, okay. My honorable mention, one of my favorite designers, is Bonanza. That game, it's and
a
not that
restaurant.
it's got this crazy depth, but it's one of those games. If I've got a game night and all of a sudden it goes from 4 players to 6 players, well, we're playing Bonanza. I mean, it's okay. And until I'm looking at my collection, going, where do I go from here now? But yeah, it adapts to any situation. But
Is that with or without the salad bar?
And the shrimp.
just the regular game out of the box, man. But
The
my
rats in the ceiling.
after talking to Ryan about his interpretation of this, I changed my final selection because this game plays at different counts. There's always a different way to play this game, and that's viticulture.
Oh.
Nice.
You play this at 2, you have to approach it differently. You play it at 3, you have every level requires a different methodology, I would say. in approaching how to play this game. And once again, I actually got to put this in memorable because I still remember those games with Ian pacing around the room when it comes.
I could probably win at any player count. Just saying.
That stamp was dropped. Mic drop. Okay. So
Dad
for
knows
me,
that I dislike this game, so it's very funny.
For me, Bonanza and Viticulture. Those are my two. There you go.
Nice. Okay, Ryan.
Okay, my honorable mention goes to the Castles of Burgundy. It's very adaptable. It plays excellent at 2, 3, and 4, and they're completely different games as you play them. So people have already mentioned Castles of Burgundy, but my selection for this one is Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. Very adaptable. It plays excellent, in my opinion, at 2 players. It's got just with the block spots. 3 players, it's a completely different game, very similar to a 2-player game, but it plays similar. And the 4-player game is exceptional. You have to pick your strategy and kind of go with it because everybody else is kind of doing their own things. And if you have 2 people doing the same strategy and kind of button heads, set off some fireworks. So. Tzolk'in Mayan Calendar is my most adaptable game because it can play excellent at all the player counts.
Cool.
Okay, Ian.
Okay, I just realized I don't have an honorable mention, so I'm just gonna throw Suro back in there because Suro can go it can go from 2 to 8.
Well, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And just like my pick that I'm gonna go with, when you're playing with 2, it's a little bit more laid back, right? You can.
Yeah.
There's more room, more space, but when you get up to the higher player counts, it's a little bit more competitive and dangerous, I guess you could say. And my selection is going to be very similar. My selection, I'm going with a old Euro classic, Carcassonne.
Ooh,
good call.
So I think Carcassonne is good with 2 players, right? You can again, it's this lazy Sunday game with 2 players. But the more players you get, the more competition there is for castles and for farms. But it works great with 2 to 6, like all player counts.
Yay.
So Carcassonne's what I'm my pick.
That's a classic.
It's a good game.
Okay, Shay.
All right, my turn. So I partially misunderstood this prompt, and I definitely did games that play well.
There's no misunderstanding. It is what it is.
Yeah. I just didn't do ones that change depending necessarily on the player counts.
No, it doesn't have to.
My honorable mention is Welcome To, which is a fantastic roll or flip and write. Yeah, and you could absolutely play this with as many cards as you want to play. It's great. We play it all the time, especially at the lake because it's so easy to take with us.
Right on.
But the one that takes the star for me is Flamme Rouge. And I say this because for those of you who don't know us that well, we're a big cycling family and a lot of our friends are cyclists. And so we play this game with up to the max player count with a large group of cyclists. And it is probably the game that goes over the best with all of our friends we force to play board games with us.
Cool.
Nice.
So yeah, this game is fantastic. Even though, once you get above a certain number, you do split up and you're now controlling only one cyclist, it still plays amazing and really fun. And I would recommend if you have any friends who like to bike, great game to play with them.
Cool.
We've actually
cyclist approved.
We played this with 12 people. And
12 people, that's the max.
That's pretty good.
So for me, my honorable mention is one that Ryan is his honorable mention, Castles of Burgundy.
Yay.
Same thing. We play this at 2, 3, and 4 players, and it works very well, and it's very different at all those player counts. My choice is a Alexander Pfister game, Maracaibo. It's one that I really enjoy at 2 players. I really like it at 3, and then at 4 it just gets bloodbathy out there.
Yeah.
Right? It's such a good game, and the mechanic works so well at all the different player counts. I struggled with this one because we don't play a lot of 2-player games because we're a family of 4, and if a game comes out, there's at least 2 other people at the table. But this is one that me and Mel have played a lot, and it just works.
Cool. It was your number one of last year, wasn't it?
I think it was number 2.
Was it number 2?
Year.
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah, I can vouch that the 2-player game is excellent. Yeah, we played it quite a bit. We actually played through the whole campaign story mode at 2-player.
That's a stamp.
That's great.
That game gets a stamp.
That's a stamp.
Stamp. Right on. Well, that rounds out the Shemies. I think that's a lot of games I have to go shopping for. Thank you very much. But before we exit, how about our two guests? You guys just let us know where we can find you and what's going on.
Okay, we're Board on the Air. We are on CFCR every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. And we have a Twitter account. We have an Instagram account.
And we have a Facebook page.
We have a Facebook page.
We're mostly on Instagram, though.
But Instagram and a little bit of Twitter.
And they have a stall at the farmer's market, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And all of your favorite podcast sites. Search us up. You'll find us. We got 85 or 86 episodes out. So have a listen.
Right on.
And that's Board on the Air, BOARD.
Cool.
If you're wondering.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you. If you've made it to, I've always throw this on out there. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. We've had so much fun talking about these games. I'm your host, Norm.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Ian.
And we'll catch you later.
This has been an episode of Cardboard Conjecture, and we are Bridge City Board Gamers. And you can find us on Facebook at Bridge City Board Gamers Saskatoon. You can find us on YouTube, Bridge City Board Gamers. We are also on Twitter at BC Board Gamers. And of course, Board Game Geek Guild number 3039.